Imagine sitting in a courtroom, same wrinkled shirt from your arrest, cuffs still leaving ghost marks on your wrists. The air smells like stale wood and something worse, betrayal. The woman across from you, the one who once whispered forever into your ear, she's not here to save you, she's here to end you. And as she raises her right hand to swear on a Bible, you realize she's doing it with a lie on her tongue, a lie she rehearsed, a lie she sharpened with help from her secret lover. The jury eats it up, and your world, it ends right there. This is not just a story of a man sent to prison. This is a story of betrayal so cold it boiled into something darker. Revenge. His name was Marcus Reed. And for 18 years he sat in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Set up by his own wife, the one person he thought would die before she ever betrayed him. But when the gates finally opened, Marcus didn't come home to heal. He came to finish the story. Marcus Reed was the kind of man you'd want mentoring your son. At 26, he ran an after-school program in East Charlotte, helping troubled teens find a different path than the one he'd once walked. Clean-cut, mild-mannered, all Southern charm and calm eyes. He wasn't flashy. Old Honda Civic, faded sneakers, Sundays spent volunteering at church. People liked Marcus because Marcus believed in redemption, especially his own. See, when Marcus was 18, he got caught with a dime bag of weed and a couple unprescribed pills. He did 6 months, but instead of doubling down, Marcus straightened up. Night classes, youth counselor certification. Eventually, he turned his past into purpose. And then came Nicole. Nicole Harper was a nurse assistant at Charlotte Medical. Soft voice, neat appearance, the kind of woman who never lets you see her sweat. They met at a health fair over a joke about blood pressure. 2 months later, they moved in together. 6 months after that, courthouse vows and whispered promises. No cake, no crowd, just belief. But marriage changed things. Nicole started withdrawing. Late nights, quiet dinners, cold shoulders. When Marcus asked what was wrong, she said she was just tired. But tiredness became distant. Distant became guarded. She changed the passcode on her phone. Started coming home later, always with the same name on her lips. Tasha. Tasha Daniels. ER nurse. Loud. Tattooed. Walked with a swagger like the world owed her something and she planned to collect. Nicole said they were just friends. Marcus wanted to believe her. But then came the nights Nicole didn't come home at all. When he confronted her, she turned it around. "You're suffocating me." He backed off, gave her space, gave her patience, gave her the benefit of the doubt. But Nicole had made other plans. It wasn't just an affair, it was an escape. Nicole fell fast for Tasha, and while she told Marcus she was just going through something, she was already planning her way out. She knew leaving would raise questions. Her family, deeply religious, wouldn't accept her truth. And Marcus? He was decent, loyal, the kind of man who would never understand being lied to about love. So she lied again. Tasha had a friend, a small-time dealer named Dre who ran pills out of a smoke shop near the highway. One night, Nicole met him in a parking lot behind a Waffle House, gave him $400 and got a pouch filled with enough drugs to bury a reputation. Then she waited. On a Tuesday afternoon, Marcus was getting a haircut. Nicole slipped away during her shift, used the spare key, popped the trunk of his Civic, and slid the pouch under the floor mat. She smiled at dinner that night, asked if he wanted pasta, kissed his cheek. 3 days later, an anonymous tip hit the Charlotte PD. The call said Marcus Reed was dealing drugs through his youth program. The arrest happened fast. Blue lights, confused questions, hands behind his back before he could process it. They searched the car, found the pouch. Marcus tried to explain. "It's not mine." But no one listened. Nicole came down to the station, tears already loaded. She told the detective he'd been acting strange, that she'd found pills in his gym bag weeks ago, that she thought he'd changed, but maybe she was wrong. She testified in court, told the jury she feared for the kids at the center, cried into a tissue, said she never imagined the man she loved would go back to his old ways. It was all they needed. Prior record, a bag of drugs, a wife in tears. The verdict came quickly, guilty. Possession with intent to distribute, 18 years. No parole for 15. Nicole didn't come to the sentencing. Prison changed Marcus, not overnight, but slow, like rust. The first week he got jumped in the showers, broken ribs, blood in his mouth. Learned 2 rules fast: don't trust quiet, and don't ever look soft. He kept his head down, took janitor duty, stayed out of trouble. He didn't cry, he didn't rage, he just folded in on himself, wrote Nicole every week, letters filled with confusion, not anger. No response. Year 3, he stopped writing. Year 5, his mother passed. He wasn't allowed to attend the funeral. That broke him more than anything. By year 7, he stopped calling anyone. And then year 12 rolled around. One conversation in the rec yard changed everything. A guy from Charlotte. "You hear about Nicole?" Marcus didn't look up. "What about her?" "She's in Savannah now, married, got a kid, her wife, some ER nurse named Tasha. You remember her?" The name hit Marcus like ice water. He didn't say a word, but that night he couldn't sleep. When Marcus walked out of prison at 44, the world looked different, colder. He had $1,000 to his name, saved from prison jobs. He didn't call friends, didn't visit old haunts. Instead, he used that money to hire a private investigator. "Find her," he said. "Find Nicole Harper." 2 weeks later, he got a name: Nicole Daniels. Married to Tasha, lives in Savannah. Nurse manager, owns a house. 1 photo: Nicole and Tasha walking hand in hand with a little boy. About 7. Big eyes. Crooked smile. "She had a kid?" Marcus asked. "IVF, the investigator said. "Paperwork's clean, donor from Atlanta Clinic." Marcus stared at the photo, not out of jealousy, but because he'd spent 18 years alone, and she'd built a life out of the ashes of his. He didn't want revenge. He wanted truth. But when he started digging, old social media posts, tagged photos, mutual friends, he found a comment, a throwaway line under a brunch photo. "Can't believe she went that far over one rumor." That was the fuse. Nicole hadn't set him up because he cheated. He never had. She heard a rumor, misread a hug, assumed the worst, and instead of asking, she destroyed him because of her own guilt. That's when Marcus Reed stopped trying to move on. He started planning. Sunday afternoon, Savannah, a quiet street, the sound of sprinklers and distant laughter. Marcus Reed parks down the block, checks the photo again. House number 28, white roses, a wind chime, a front porch. He walks up, knocks once. The door opens. Tasha Daniels stares at him, blinking like she's trying to place the face. Marcus smiles. It's not a kind smile. The sun was high, the streets clean and quiet, like nothing ugly ever happened here. But on Willow Lane, past the trimmed lawns and porch swings, the past was knocking. Marcus Reed stood at the threshold of a house filled with everything he'd been denied. Freedom, love, a child, a future. Nicole's future, built from the bones of his own. Tasha Daniels opened the door, confused for a second, until recognition sliced through her face. "You," she whispered. Then Nicole appeared behind her, holding a glass of strawberry lemonade. It slipped from her hands, shattered. "Marcus?" He didn't answer. They were sitting in the living room now. Nicole on the couch, hands trembling. Tasha on the armrest, still frozen, her body coiled like a spring. Marcus stood by the fireplace, silent. The gun sat on the coffee table, not pointed, not raised, but there, a reminder. "You lied," Marcus said quietly. "For what?" Nicole's eyes welled. "I was scared. I didn't know how to tell anyone. I didn't know how to leave. So you buried me instead, Marcus replied. 18 years, Nicole. Tasha spoke for the first time. Look, you want to talk? We can talk, but not like this. Not with that thing on the table. Marcus looked at her, and in his eyes there was no heat, just winter. You helped her do it? Tasha's mouth opened, then shut. Nicole broke. I thought you were cheating. I heard something. Somebody said they saw you hugging that girl outside the center. Marcus blinked slowly. That girl was a volunteer. Her mother died the night before. The room went quiet. Nicole folded in on herself. I messed up. I was already seeing Tasha. I thought I could make a clean break. But I was a coward. You weren't a coward, Marcus said. You were a coward with a plan. He picked up the gun. Tasha tensed. I'm not here to kill you, Marcus said. If I was, I wouldn't have knocked. He slid the gun into his waistband, sat down. I'm here for the truth, all of it. For the next 2 hours, they talked. Not yelled, not screamed, talked. Marcus asked questions. Nicole answered, haltingly at first, then fully, how it started, when she knew she was in love with Tasha, how Dre got involved, why she never visited him, wrote him, looked back. I couldn't, she said, eyes red. I would have fallen apart. You should have, Marcus said. I did, every day. He asked about the boy. His name was Elijah, 7 years old, bright, funny, loved dinosaurs. He's yours? Marcus asked. Nicole shook her head. No, clinic donor. We picked someone anonymous. It shouldn't have hurt, but it did. As twilight crept over Savannah, Marcus stood up. I'm not going to the cops, he said. I'm not here to ruin your life. Nicole stared, confused. Then why come? Marcus paused. Because I needed to see it, to know it was real, to know you weren't sorry enough to come find me. Tasha stood. You think you're the only one who suffered? Marcus turned slowly. You made a decision that cost me everything, so no, I don't think your tears mean the same. He walked to the door. Nicole followed, barefoot, still shaking. Marcus, she whispered, I'll never forgive myself. He didn't turn. Good, he said. Then he was gone. He didn't go far. Checked into a motel 5 blocks away. He sat on the edge of the bed that night, replaying every second. It wasn't closure. Not really. But it was something. He pulled out a notebook, started writing. The title at the top, 18 years later. A memoir, maybe a reckoning. He didn't know, but it was a beginning. Flashback, prison, year 14. Marcus sits in the library, reading case law, looking for loopholes. A guard walks in, drops a file on the table. Inmate research request, he grunts. Knock yourself out. Marcus opens it. Something catches his eye. An internal police memo about the tip that led to his arrest. Printed at the bottom, anonymous submission. User ID ndaniels88 at. His breath stops. Nicole's email, her maiden name, used on old paperwork. She never changed it online. That was the first time Marcus thought, one day, I'll get out. And I'll make sure she confesses. Out loud. To me. Marcus stares at his phone. His thumb hovers over a contact. Detective Ross Camden, Charlotte Metro PD, Reti. He hadn't spoken to Ross in years, but Ross always believed his version, even when the department didn't. Marcus hit dial. It rang. Camden. It's Reed, Marcus said. I found her. She admitted it. A pause. You have proof? No recording. But she confessed. I need help, Ross. I want to clear my name. Officially. Ross sighed. That's a steep hill. But I owe you. A pause. Meet me in Raleigh. 2 days. Marcus packed that night. Not just clothes, but every photo, every note, every scrap of memory that could prove what happened. He didn't know if the justice system would care, But if the truth didn't set him free, maybe it would at least bury the lie. The bus pulled in late, brakes hissing like a tired dragon. Marcus stepped off with a duffel bag slung over one shoulder and 18 years of ghosts packed in his chest. The air was damp. Not cold, not warm, just heavy, like the truth he was carrying. Detective Ross Camden was already waiting, leaning against a silver Dodge Charger, same one he used to park outside the precinct back in the day. A little older now, hair more gray than black, but his eyes were the same, sharp, skeptical, tired of excuses. "You look like hell," Camden said. "You ever done 6,574 nights in a cage?" Marcus replied. Camden didn't smile, just opened the passenger door. "Let's go," he said. "We've got work to do." Flashback. 2006, Charlotte Metro PD briefing room. Detective Camden had raised concerns back then. Something about the tip never sat right. The lack of fingerprints, the anonymous email coming from a dead-end server. He pushed for more time, more digging. But the higher-ups? They wanted a clean conviction. Black man, prior drug charge, wife's testimony, open and shut. Camden knew better, but the system had its favorites, and Marcus Reed wasn't one of them. Inside Camden's apartment, Raleigh, North Carolina, walls lined with boxes, old case files, dust. Camden had retired 2 years ago, but his brain hadn't stopped working. He handed Marcus a folder. "Everything I pulled before I left the force. Some of it they tried to bury." Marcus opened it. Police reports, transcripts, a blurry screenshot of the email metadata. User ID N Daniels 88, and there it is, Camden said. Nicole's maiden email. Marcus swallowed hard. "It's not enough," Camden added. "Not in court. Not yet." "So what do we need?" Marcus asked. "A confession. Clean, recorded, voluntary. Or someone else involved who's willing to flip." Marcus sat back. "Tasha." Camden raised an eyebrow. "You think she'd talk?" "I think she regrets more than she lets on," Marcus said. Tasha Daniels was tired. Since Marcus's visit, Nicole hadn't stopped crying. She barely slept, avoided the mirrors in the house, refused to talk about what came next. Tasha was angry, not just at Marcus, but at Nicole, at herself, because in the beginning it was just about love, rebellion, escaping judgment. But what they did to Marcus, that wasn't about love. That was cruelty with a purpose. Tasha sat in her office, scrolling through old messages. Then she found it, a voice memo from Nicole, sent days before Marcus's arrest. "I just need it gone. Gone, Tash. The drugs, the past, all of it. I'm ready to start over." Tasha listened to it 3 times. Her stomach churned. Then she picked up her phone and made a call. Back in Camden's living room, Camden's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered, listened, said nothing for 30 seconds, then hung up. He turned to Marcus. "She's coming." Later that night, Tasha walked in alone. No backup, no lawyer. Marcus stood when she entered. "I didn't come for forgiveness," she said. "Didn't expect it," he replied. They sat. Camden hit record on a small digital device, placed it in the center of the table. Tasha looked at it, then at Marcus. "You deserve to hear it," she said, "all of it." And she talked for 47 minutes about Nicole's fear, the setup, Dre, the drop behind the Waffle House, the call to the cops, the courtroom lies, the silence afterward. "She broke," Tasha said at the end. "Years ago, I tried to fix it. But how do you fix a grave?" He listened to the recording 3 times, later that night in his motel room. Didn't cry, didn't smile. He emailed a copy to Camden, then another to himself. He titled the email, "For When the System Pretends It Doesn't Remember." The next day at Charlotte Justice Center, filing window, Marcus stood in line, a manila envelope in hand. Inside, the recording, the email metadata, an affidavit from Camden, his own sworn declaration. He handed it over. "I want to file for post-conviction relief," he said. The clerk didn't even look up, just stamped the form. It would take weeks, maybe months. But for the first time in 18 years, Marcus Reed had a case. Meanwhile, in Nicole's house, Savannah. She sat in Elijah's room, watching him sleep. Her hands were shaking, her phone buzzed. It was Tasha, one text. He recorded it. Nicole stared at the screen. Her past was no longer a secret. It was evidence. Newsroom, local Charlotte affiliate, 1 week later. Headline: New evidence emerges in 2006 drug conviction. Ex-wife and witness admits to framing Marcus Reed in explosive audio confession. Marcus watched from a diner TV. The room was silent. A waitress refilled his coffee. "You really him?" she asked. He nodded. She slid the check toward him. "It's on the house," she said. 2 weeks later, Marcus got a call. "Mr. Reed, this is Judge Klein's clerk. The court has granted an evidentiary hearing. Date is set for next month." Marcus hung up slowly. The day had come. Now the question wasn't if the world would hear the truth. It was if the court would finally believe it. Charlotte, North Carolina, August 12th. The courtroom smelled like old paper and cold steel. It had been 6,574 days since Marcus Reed stood in front of a judge. But this time, he wasn't the accused. He was the truth. Seated beside him, his pro bono attorney, a young firebrand named Lila Chan. Across the aisle, Nicole Daniels and Tasha. Silent, still, faces pale. The courtroom was packed. News crews, activists, old neighbors. People who once believed he was guilty now waiting to see if justice had the courage to admit it got it wrong. Judge Klein entered. Gray robe, thinned hair. No nonsense. "Let's begin," he said. Flashback, Nicole's testimony, 2007. Back then, she cried on the stand. Told the court she'd seen Marcus with drugs, that she feared for her safety, that he'd gone back to his old ways. The jury believed her. Present day, Nicole takes the stand again. No tears this time, just silence. "Mrs. Daniels, is it true you provided false testimony in 2007? Lila asked. "Yes," Nicole answered. Gasps. "Why?" "Because I was in love with someone else. I wanted out. I was afraid of the truth." "Did Marcus Reed ever deal drugs?" "No, never," she said. Marcus didn't look at her. He stared at the judge, waiting. Then Tasha took the stand. She confirmed it all. The voice memo, the meeting with Dre, the call to the police, and finally, Detective Ross Camden. Retired but not forgotten. He laid out everything. The metadata, the mishandled evidence, the rush to convict. 3 hours later, the hearing concluded. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarming. Marcus didn't speak. His lawyer did. "We are asking for a full exoneration," Lila said. "This man lost 18 years to a lie." 1 week later. The ruling came in a sealed envelope. Marcus opened it at his motel room. Motion for post-conviction relief granted. Conviction vacated. Record expunged. Marcus didn't shout. He just sat there, hands folded, eyes closed, free, finally, officially. Flash forward, 6 months later, Marcus at a book signing in Atlanta. His memoir, Buried with a Lie, had become a bestseller. Not because it was polished, but because it was raw. People came for his signature, but stayed for his strength. A woman asked him, "Do you hate her?" Marcus paused. "No," he said, "because hate keeps you in the cage. I'm out." Marcus Reed now speaks across the country. At law schools, at prisons, at churches, he talks about forgiveness, about silence, about how evil isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. In 18 years, Marcus lost everything. His freedom, his name, his mother. But he found something too. The truth doesn't fix the past, but it lights the road forward. Lessons we must never forget. Don't believe everything you hear. Believe what you prove. Love is powerful, but fear, twisted with shame, can destroy more than fists ever could. Real justice starts with speaking up, even when it's too late to undo the damage. If Marcus's story moved you, don't just watch, act. Share this story. Speak up when you see injustice. Support the wrongly convicted. And most of all, stay loud, stay aware, stay brave, because the next Marcus Reed could be someone you love. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more true stories that challenge the system and spotlight the truth. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay human, stay free.